hope that, well, I don't like the word hope. Hope is a beggar. But I affirm that all is well with you and that every lesson that you need to learn today, that you learned it, and every bit of inspiration that you needed today to encourage you, that you received it. Now, I am not really having an issue. Well, I'm going to say this. I didn't have a live stream on Wednesday. And I didn't have a live stream. I posted this to my Facebook page and I stated that I had to throw out some trash. And that was certainly real. I had to throw some trash out, as it were. So I didn't have a live stream on Wednesday. And I'm going to explain that. This is 30 minutes of practical wisdom and common sense. And that's what I'm here to do. So I think this is more so, this is a call in for you to get it off your chest, for you to say what you need to say. And I'm going to do the same. I'm certainly going to do the same. I understand that people are so upset about this election. And I hear people saying, oh, it's getting on my nerves, it's this, that, and the other, and oh, I can't take it, what's going on? But I submit to you that no matter who is in office, your life probably won't change. I know we don't want to hear that, but since this is get it off your chest, I'm going to get it off my chest. I know we don't like to hear things like that. I know that we like to think that maybe something would change a little bit more, maybe, but probably not. And with that in mind, you have to understand that you still have to get up and live. You have to get up and do what you have to do for yourself and your family. You still have responsibilities. The light bill is still due. And when you get to that place, that realization, I think that you'll find that sometimes you make mountains out of molehills. I am not in any way not validating how you feel or the stress you may feel, but I am merely asking that you focus on those things that you really need to focus on. So I stated earlier that I did not have a live stream on Wednesday because I was throwing out the trash. And let me explain that. And when I say throwing out the trash, I don't mean I couldn't pay it. I couldn't come on live, you guys, because I was taking the trash to the curb. I mean, the things that happen where, things that don't serve you well, you have to get rid of. Now, I don't refer to people as trash. I refer to the situations. I refer to the circumstances as trash. And so that's what I mean when I say I was getting rid of trash. I meant I was getting things away from me, getting situations away from me, getting things that no longer serve me away. So that's why I did not have the live on Wednesday, because I was throwing out the trash. You have to do that in your life. If there's something in your life that does not serve you, if it's something that's not building you, if it's something that's not encouraging you, at some point you're going to have to get rid of it. And again, I'm not talking about people. When we let people go in our lives, it's not really them. It's the circumstance and situations that they cause. It's the things that they do that cause us not to be built up. I refuse to have relationships, whether they're love relationships, most relationships should be loving. But what I mean by that is whether they're relationships where I'm intimate sexually with someone, or where I'm talking to someone, whether they're friendships, whether they're with people I work with, relatives. I refuse to have relationships that don't build me. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to do that. I don't sustain relationships like that. And the reason why I don't is because I build people. I'm a premier personal development brand. When people come to me, they're expecting for those holes that they have. They're expecting for those voids to be filled with something. because apparently they've been torn down so much. So I don't have relationships with people that are not fulfilling and beneficial. Ships sail, okay? So when we find ourselves in these type of relationships, you have to do a self-evaluation. You have to begin to think, what am I doing exactly? What is going on in my life that I'm still pouring into this relationship and then pouring out tears on my pillow at night? You can't do that. You simply cannot do that. So for me, because I'm getting it off my chest, for me, I have to let people know. And you can let people know about something that they're doing that is not building you, that is tearing you down, or that is just not beneficial for where you desire to go. So for me, okay, I see you. So for me, because of what I do, I don't have a desire, and I cannot meet the needs of someone who does not want to change. I cannot be a part of someone who wants to stay in the dirt, who wants to stay in the struggle, who wants to always have a desire to be down. I can't do that. I won't do that. It's not too much that I can't do. I just will not do it. It will not happen. You give a person or people an opportunity to change. That's what you do. You do not discard people. You give them an opportunity to change. And this is how we do that. We say, hey, look, this is a situation and circumstance. This is not beneficial for both of us. So something has to change. Something, we have to adapt somewhere. There must need to be an adjustment that we may move forward and both grow and mature. You give a person an opportunity by telling them how you feel, what's going on, and how long you've been feeling like this. Now, once you release that, and I'm talking about clear communication, I'm not talking about you slamming plates down and punching holes in the wall and breaking out windows. I'm talking about clear communication with your words, stating clearly that this is what's going on, this is how I'm feeling, and this is not going to work because of this. When you do that, you give that person an opportunity. You give them an opportunity to take accountability. You give them an opportunity to take responsibility. But more importantly, you give them an opportunity to change. Now, if they don't do that, and you stated clearly that this is a problem, you must remove yourself out of the situation. This is the issue, though. When you don't remove yourself from the situation, you can no longer make them be responsible and accountable. And that is the issue that most people have in whatever relationship, whether it be parental and child, whether it be wife and husband, whether it be co-worker, whatever relationship that you have. Once you make things clear, they don't change and you stay, you can no longer press them for being accountable and responsible because you have remained in the situation after you've made it clear. And they now think, well, hell, I mean, if there's no repercussions to my actions, then there is no reason for me to change. I know that's a tough pill to swallow. And so now people wonder why, when they come to seek somebody for help, when they go to a counselor or a therapist or their pastor or preacher or whatever you do, and they give you something and say something to you, you don't receive it because you don't want to hear it because, well, what about the other person? Well, didn't you make it clear it's no longer on the other person. You've made it perfectly clear that this must change, and they haven't changed it. And so there's no consequences to their action. So that's on you. That's on you. How many times have we've asked people to adjust or meet us halfway and do something that's going to allow us both to grow and mature and prosper, and they don't do it. The only thing that happens is that it causes you great frustration, but you're still there. There are no consequences for this person, and they continue to treat you like that, and you continue to complain. And the only thing that changes are the years that go by or the months that go by. And the only thing that changes when you tell the story are the numbers. Before it was, I can't believe I've been going through the same thing with the same person for 2 years. And then later on, it's, I can't believe I've been going through the same with this same person and I was 6 years. And I can't believe. So the only thing that really changes are the numbers. Because there are no consequences. That means that, hey, I don't have to do anything. So now you're frustrating yourself. And it's your fault. It's your fault. And then what happens after that is you become bitter. You become upset. You've put yourself in this particular situation. So yes, I was throwing out some trash. I was throwing out some trash. And it's interesting because I really value. You ever have a friendship that you valued and you said, okay, this is a good friendship. I value this friendship. It's been around for a long time. And then you remember that you are not the person that you were when the friendship started, and you can see that what you tolerated then you don't tolerate now. And it's not because the person has gotten so bad. They could be the same. It's the fact that you've changed and you've matured. And so now you see the actions a little bit differently because now there's a different lens. So sometimes it's not really the person who has changed dramatically. It's the rose-colored glasses that you just happen to take off, that you say, oh, wait a minute. They're not new. They've always done this. It's just that this is no longer acceptable behavior for me. And so when that happens, the majority of the time, people say things like, you've changed. And so many times we don't like change, that we'll tell people, oh, no, I haven't changed. I'm the same. No, you're not. Stop leaving yourself stuck right there. It's okay to admit when you've changed. It's okay to say, yes, I certainly have. I've changed. And since I've changed, I can no longer deal with this situation the way I have. But we hate change so much that we don't even want to admit when it comes. We want to stay stuck. And so I haven't changed. I don't change. I'm solid. When you have changed. And it's okay to say, yeah, you're right. I certainly have. I've changed. And I think it's because most of the time, when people say that to us, we get a negative feeling on the inside. When people come to us and say, ooh, you've changed, something negative automatically pops up in your gut where you feel like that's an insult. I don't know how I should take that. That's the first thing that comes to your mind. Is something negative when it comes to change. But when you really sit back and think about it, you understand that you're not the same person that you were when you were 20. You're not the same person that you were when you were 21. So guess what? You have changed. And that's something that you have to embrace. And in that change, sometimes it means that you have to let go of those things that no longer serve you. You have to release those things that no longer serve you. The thing where you say, you know what, this was great when I was in my 30s, not so great for me in my 50s, and you adjust. You adjust. There's a danger in hanging on to things that no longer serve you. When you do that, you'll start to notice how people are surpassing you. The only time that we really notice that people are surpassing us or seemingly doing better than we are is because we have not embraced change. And so sometimes that rut that you think you're in, you're not really in. You just don't want to accept the fact. You don't want to tell yourself, I've changed, I'm changing, or that you desire to change. And so you think that all is well and everything is well, but then you start to see other people doing some other things and it seeming like they're moving forward. Like what is going on? You can do the same if you just admit to yourself, yes, okay, I've changed. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I had to deal with that on Wednesday night. As I stated earlier, I build people. I'm an optimist and I'm a realist. I don't think there's anything that we can't get through. I think life is wonderful. Life is a roller coaster ride. It has its dips, it has its highs, it has its lows. It's life. And life is meant to be lived. So that for me means that I create the life that I want. I've always thought that. I maintain that. And that's what I stand on. That's what I do with my life. And in turn, I help other people to get past some things, to embrace change, to say it's okay, to say that, we're going to deal with this. We're going to face it. We're going to use our emotions, our senses, our thoughts, everything that we have in this life to move forward in this life is what we're going to use. I teach people how to utilize all of that to create and be the best that they desire to be. So I cannot sit back and allow something that no longer serves me to get in the way of that. And Wednesday was a tough day. And it was only a tough day for me, not because I was affected, but because of who I am. I know how it's going to affect someone else. So when I made the decision on Wednesday to let a friendship go that I've had for a long time, I had already made that decision. So I was not bothered by it. But I knew that the person who was going to be hearing about this was not going to take it well. Right? Was not going to take it well. But it was something that I had to do. It is something that I'm accustomed to doing. I don't have a problem with starting at ground zero. I don't have anything that I can't walk away from. It's not how I live my life. So Wednesday, again, I had taken out the trash, not the person themselves, but the situation and the emotions that go along with the situation. And I understand that people don't take it well. And so the reason why I'm sharing this and getting this off my chest is because there's somebody that you probably need to tell that, hey, this is not working for me any longer, but you're afraid to do it because you know how they're going to feel. Rest assured that if it needs to be done, you have to do it. You have to do it. Because if you don't, it's only going to bother you. It is only going to bother you. So I made up my mind to cut off this particular relationship, this particular friendship. And I did it in order to move forward and to grow. And also I did it for them because I want them to also move forward and grow. Doesn't mean that I'll never speak to this person again. That's not how I end relationships, and that's not how relationships should be ended. I'll probably do it a broadcast live stream about that, but it merely meant that we don't have to talk every day. You can, on special holidays, if you are into that, send me a Christmas card. I guess you can send me a birthday card if you so choose, but there's no pressure for you to do that. I'm releasing you from the pressure of calling me all the time. I'm releasing you from the pressure of having to confide in me. I'm releasing you from the pressure of all of that. It doesn't mean that I don't want to hear from you. It just means that our relationship is different. It's sort of like when you get demoted. Anybody ever been demoted before? Whether you were in the military on a job or something, or that's just what it is. You're not leaving the company. You just don't have the same position that you had. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of you are keeping people in the same positions that they've had, and you have not grown. They have not grown. Nothing has changed. You just got them around because of longevity. You have them around because, they've been around so long, might as well. Doesn't serve you well. Doesn't serve you well. Now, if a person is abusive towards you, of course you want to, whether it be physically, emotionally, verbally, mentally, psychologically, whatever it may be, of course you want to cut those people totally out of your life. You should never have anybody that's abusive in your life, whether it's friend, foe, mother, whoever. So for me, it was just a matter of saying, listen, it's not that I don't love you. I've been knowing you for over 20 years. I certainly love you. I respect you. We're just not as close as we were because I've grown and I've changed. And since I've changed, I'm noticing that this is no longer beneficial. And if it's not beneficial, because it works both ways, if it's not beneficial for me, then I'm certainly not beneficial for you. Right? I don't have relationships with people, again, that there's no benefit. If I cannot benefit you in some way, and you knowing me and my knowing you, and us communicating with each other, then why are we doing it? Why are we doing it? For what? We don't get that time back. You don't get that time back. And that's the most valuable thing that we have. I refuse to waste my time. It's not going to happen. But a lot of times we hang on to things just because, it's been this long, just because it's happened for this long, and just because. It's so nostalgic. Oh my goodness, the memories. Yes, you have those memories, but it's not the same today. There are a lot of people that you should have cut off years ago, but you didn't. And so every time you look at your phone and they're calling, you got an attitude. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like answering my phone. Why even go through that? And it happens. Oh, I can't believe it. So you're making up all of these excuses not to speak to someone when you can just say, hey, I think we should have a talk. I think this will be good for both of us to have this talk. I mean, I've had the talk with people. Sometimes it turned out well and they understood and said, okay, I see where you are. Sometimes not so well. I don't ever want to talk to you again. I can't believe that you would treat me like this. So that tells me where they are, that they don't understand how communication works. Then they start throwing out insults, and then you're like, oh, well, I'm glad I said this because I didn't even really know you felt that way. You ever tell someone how you feel and then they start hurling insults at you? You tell them, well, this is how I'm feeling and this is the decision that I've made. And then they start, Well, I didn't like you anyway, and you weren't so great, and you got a big head. Oh, you got a little money now. Whatever the situation is, whatever the situation is, they start, instead of focusing on the situation at hand, they start to tell you how they really feel. They start to tell you what they really think about you. That's when you know that, wow, I have made the best decision ever, because this will hinder my growth if I don't get out of this situation. It's not that I don't like the person. I like the person. Hell, I've been knowing you for a long time. But it's the situations, it's the circumstances, it's the things when we have conversation that are not beneficial. That's not healthy. Hell, a lot of my friends knew years ago that they were going to have to talk to me every now and then because I wasn't there anymore. I wasn't there anymore. When I stopped watching TV, for instance, I stopped watching TV. I haven't watched TV in over a decade. Dropped a lot of people off from calling me. Why? Because we don't have anything to talk about outside of, girl, did you see what happened on TV? And since I wasn't there, I wasn't the good Judy for the TV shows. Damn, well, we can't call YaYa. Then you slowly call someone else. Because I've changed. I can't begin to tell you what's on TV. Someone suggested during the quarantine, someone suggested, I don't even own a TV set. Someone said, hey, watch this show called Hoarders. I don't know how many of you that are listening are familiar with Hoarders, but if you watch that show, there's something absolutely wrong with you. I was sick. I said, this is what y'all got going. I don't know if anybody ever watched that show. I'm like, this is what y'all got going. And then the next one, oh, no. Watch My 600-Pound Life. I can only get through one episode of each of those shows because I have not watched television. And so, yes, a lot of people dropped out of my life because they want to talk about TV. They want to talk about the news. I'm not talking about that because I'm not watching it. I've changed. And when you change, either you have to tell people that certain things are no longer acceptable, or they will recognize it and fall off. Okay, monetary, I'm serious. I'm so serious. Or they will recognize it and begin to fall off. But either way, you have to embrace change. Either way, you have to have a desire to change. If you want your life to be better tomorrow than what it is today, you are going to have to change. If you want the life that you want to create to be the best for you, you are going to have to let certain situations go. And there are certain people that are connected with those situations. Doesn't mean that you don't love them. Doesn't mean you send them off with hate and dislike. It just means you let them know, I'm a step back from you for a little bit because I've changed. And I want to see where this change takes me. I want to see where I can go as this newfound person, as this person who has different thoughts, as a person who is thinking clearly, as a person who sees things differently. I want to know how far I can go. That's what I want to do. I want to know how far I can go. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I got it off my chest. That's what happened Wednesday. I was taking out some trash. I was releasing some things, letting some things go so that I'm able to move forward and do what I have to do and create what I have a desire to create and help other people to create, because that's just what I do. Y'all, this has been 30 minutes of practical wisdom and common sense. Y'all know what it is. It's me. It's Dr. YaYa. You can go to www.askdryaya.com. Follow me on Facebook, Ask Dr. YaYa. I thank you so much for sharing this time with me. Remember, you are loved, you are valued, and you are appreciated.